Hey, what's going on, guys? Tukey here, back again with what should be a happier video than it actually is. Allow me to explain here over the next couple of minutes. The first roster update for NHL 23 is out. It came out late on Wednesday, dated October 18th of 2022. Right off the bat, it is very much a transaction-heavy update. There might be some jersey changes and stuff like that, but the primary two, of course, that you might be wondering about, the Calgary Wranglers, who do not have their updated look in the game yet, and the Savannah Ghost Pirates as well do not currently have their actual jerseys in the game. So that's kind of an immediate strike one for this roster update in terms of being a little bit of a disappointment. It is not the only aspect in which it's a disappointment. The second is that they have not fixed the 2007 issue. For those that missed me talking about this a little bit earlier, in the game, you do not have the option to assign a 2007 birth year to a player. Now, you might be saying, well, how big of a deal is that? It really hinders what you can do roster editing wise for top prospects. In particular, the 2025 draft with Michael Misa and McKenna in the 2026 draft, both 2007 birthdays, meaning if you go to Saginaw and you click on Michael Misa's name, your game will still crash. That has not been fixed. It's incredibly disappointing. Certainly, of course, from a roster editing perspective, there are literally players now that you can't edit if you want to, give Michael Misa abilities or up that overall so he's a little bit more competitive with the computer-generated players that EA always pump into the draft through franchise mode. So that, in a sense, is two strikes already. Then we get to, well, what changes have been made. And unfortunately, while there have been some interesting examples, I know a lot of people are like, where the hell is David Yarosek? He's either was here the whole time or is back in the game still on Plizen as opposed to being on the Cleveland Monsters. I imagine the next update will move him there. And in general, the AHL is still very, very much out of date, which means there are still very much players who are missing. The AHL season now is like 3-4 games in for some teams. Milwaukee really stands out. There's no Askarov yet. There's no Mark Del Gaizo. For Islanders fans, you're still waiting for Ruslan Ishikov to end up back in the game. Of course, he was with Berlin in the DEL last season. Now, because he's changing over to the AHL and hasn't played there yet, he is not currently in the game. So that's almost strike 2.5, is the fact that we still have to wait for the next update, presumably for the AHL to be fixed and in what I would consider really usable shape if you wanted to start a solid franchise mode. At the same time, it brings us to the likes of, well, there are the new additions at the NHL level. Say hello to Arbor Jacki, who is back in the game. Also, shout out to them giving Caden Gooley an upgrade. I'll go through every team in a minute. However, as pointed out by my good buddy Tactics HD, make sure to follow him on YouTube. I know he'll have a full video out of his thoughts as well very, very soon. Eagle-eyed Habs fans might notice that Arbor Jacki is not 6'2". He's 6'4". He is not 195 pounds. He is listed on NHL.com, Hockey Reference, and Elite Prospects at 6'4", 238 pounds. So not only is this not a great update for the jerseys, not only is it not a great update for the 2007 birth year issue, it's also an issue in that on top of overalls and potentials being highly questionable, how the hell are we getting height and weight wrong? This, on top of everything that's wrong with franchise mode, yes, like I said before, Custom League is such a good addition, but the core mode itself has been the same for so long. It's so stale, it's so boring, and so far behind other franchise modes, even under the EA umbrella. Then you have issues like this where it just feels like there is So very little attention to detail, and I genuinely don't know if it's due to a lack of time, a lack of resources, or a lack of care at this stage. And I try not to talk about it in a way that could be unfair, but at the same time, this community, my community, maybe you disagree, and hey, that's fine. The majority of people that I hear within my community view this as unacceptable, because I've built this community on top of the idea of who the hell cares about Hut, who the hell cares about Isha. We care about franchise, we care about things being accurate, rosters. That's the deal. And hey, here you are. You might not agree with that, but this is the part of YouTube that you found yourselves in. And it's unacceptable, in my opinion. It's unacceptable, and a lot of people's opinions, and rightfully so. On top of that, when we talk about attention to detail, a lot of people will talk about equipment, stuff like that. Goalie equipment, maybe you can't make it too accurate to what they actually use in case it's licensing. Who the fuck knows? Obviously, I think, there are the people, myself included, that I'd love to have everyone with accurate equipment. Attributes are their own interesting thing. X factors are their own interesting things. But height and weight. How the hell are we getting height and weight wrong? And if it's like, oh, well, that's what he was, and he grew 2 inches. The guy's 21, 22 years old. On top of that, fighter set to rarely. This mother fudger has 5 listed fights in 2022. He has 2 for the Habs this month. This month. Rarely. Have you watched Arbor Jacki at all? Rarely a fighter, Arbor Jacki. Okay. Yeah, sure. Sure. But hey, at the very least, 6'2", 195 is what he's listed as on Hockey Fights. So maybe that's what it is. We're going off of hockeyfights.com. I don't know. Maybe Hockey Fights is right and everyone else is wrong. NHL.com itself is wrong. Maybe. I just don't understand how we have out-of-date height and weight. And look, I get it. To some people, it's going to be like, well, come on, it's not the biggest deal. And you're right. In and of itself, it's not the biggest deal in the world. But franchise mode and the state of the rosters is death by 1,000 cuts. That's where we're at. There are just so many little to medium-sized things that are wrong, that should not be, or that don't clearly work the way that they should work, that you end up in this state where it's like, whatever, I don't even care that much. Or you're like me and you want to pull whatever hair you have left out of your goddamn head. There is a reason why when there were the build-ups, the build-up videos for NHL 22, I was continuing to use the words cautious optimism. And it's because I had a feeling this was the direction that we were going in. That franchise mode was just going to kind of get a bandage in the form of custom league, and that major issues weren't going to be changed. And indeed, that is the case. You can still, there was an example shared with me by Tactics earlier today of him in a franchise mode where he went best lines with his roster, with his Montreal Canadiens franchise, which I recommend you guys go and check out. I'll shout out Snipe and Score Productions, Sim for the Win Productions, and there are numerous other people who are putting out franchise modes, while I might not be in the short term, maybe the long term. But still getting examples of, well, I went best lines, and the game put 82 overall David Krejci at center and 89 overall Martin Necas on the fourth line. Why? Well, because we could get +1 chemistry for that line. Not to mention Patrice Bergeron with 5 different abilities was on the third line between the two of them. You get the issues like that. You get the issues of the AI having no comprehension of how to build an intelligent roster whatsoever, still, after all these years. It's in a very bad spot. Franchise mode it should be great. Shout out to AJ Greer, goddamn hero. Franchise mode in general is just in such a rough spot. Their rosters are abysmal. I'm sorry. They are. They really are. Call me an egomaniac if you want. I think I've proven over the years, what you can agree or disagree with some of the overall, some of the ratings, some of the ways that I've decided to go about things. You're not going to see first round picks in the past year or two with, low top 6, medium 9 potentials, a lot of different stuff like that. Unless you're talking like, oh, Nolan Allen was an off the board pick. Aside from that, there's just so much that just kills any sort of motivation to do anything franchise mode related. And so much of the franchise mode experience is tied to these rosters because of the way franchise mode works, who has trade value, who doesn't, the prospects, and so on and so forth. It's all very much linked together. And if one side is lacking, the other side will suffer. If both sides are lacking, I very much suffer. I know I'm not alone in that feeling. And for those of you that can continue to just kind of enjoy franchise mode for what it is right now and can just look at these rosters and be like, yeah, it's good enough, man, more power to you. More power to you. I will say, though, you should hope for better. If you can enjoy it, cool. I'm jealous. But you should very much hope for better. And again, that's just talking about franchise mode. That's just talking about the rosters, while those are such a huge piece of the puzzle. But at the same time, while those two modes are lacking, where does it force someone like me? Ultimate Team or World of Chell? 2-0 in Hockey Ultimate Team. Do I have any desire to try to go 3-0? No. Absolutely not. And in the world of EASHL, and here, ignore the fact that it's fucking 3 a.m. We just got done with the stream on Twitch. I always told you guys I stream late. Twitch.tv/Tugi24 every night, except for tonight. I got a doctor's appointment. On Friday morning, yeah. Then you get to deal with gameplay like this once you get forced out of the menus of franchise mode and roster editing. Then you get to deal with stuff like this, which I think speaks for itself. I don't think I need to mention anything more than that. Yes, they scored on that play. Of course they scored on that play. That's all well and good. NHL 23. And I'm trying to not be overly sensationalistic with this. But I do genuinely believe that given the standards of where this game should be, specifically, I mean, fuck gameplay at this point, whatever, I don't care. If people like it, they like it, whatever. I think it's incredibly unrealistic. It's beyond fast when it doesn't need to be. It's overly fast to the point that shout out to Elmer Soderblom, by the way, what a fucking player. It's overly fast to the point where a lot of their own mechanics don't work. And those mechanics often end up getting labeled as useless and not worth the risk or underpowered. May I introduce you to net front tie-ups that you'll never see. You might see 1 out of 10 defensemen in the ASHL use it. It's because the game's too fast and you can't get it to lock on properly. But hey, don't worry with the rosters. They did nuke Oscar Klefbom's rating, so that's good. That's a win for us. Gameplay-wise is what it is. If you guys have listened to me at any point, YouTube, Twitch, talk about fucking gameplay, you know where I stand. I prefer a more methodical style of gameplay, not overly catered to being fast, skill, TikTok clips heavy. That's what NHL is at this point. The EA NHL series is about all-out offense, TikTok clips, try to fucking capture the Fortnite magic, essentially. That is the direction in which this game has gone. And you know what? It's not for me. If it's for you, I'm not going to yuck your yum. Enjoy this game for what it is. It's just not for me. I'm good at this game. Maybe even a little bit better than good. Doesn't make a difference. I could be elite at this game. I would still feel the same goddamn way. So in terms of gameplay, aside from maybe few more EASHL streams, if I feel like having whatever the fuck happened on that goal happen to me again, there's not going to be much gameplay-wise. There's not going to be an Ultimate Team series this year where I bang my head against the wall because I'm looking at plays like that every day. And then it comes down to franchise mode, with it being in the shape that it's in, with these rosters being in the state that they're in. Where the hell's the motivation for franchise mode? This game is the worst since NHL 15. I said I didn't want to be overly sensationalistic about it, but given where we should be now, compared to where we were then with NHL 15, which, to be honest, from a gameplay perspective, wasn't that bad, but on Xbox One and PS4, it was a barren wasteland lacking all comprehension in terms of the ridiculous lack of modes and features for those consoles. I haven't been this down on an NHL game since then. And I don't think that's being dramatic at this stage. You know, I've had my hands on this game for 2 weeks. You know, I was able to get my hands on the game a little bit earlier than everyone else was, thanks to my affiliation with EA and everything. And yeah, I feel the same way now that I did 2 weeks ago, that I did 2 months ago when I knew, you know, a lot of what was coming with this game. It's the reason why I wasn't overly being like, oh yeah, guys, be hyped. This is the game. Like, you know, I didn't want to kill people's hope because, again, some people might enjoy it, but it's in just such a rough spot. And I'm at the point where it's like, man, I might just do videos where it's like, hey, today we're playing NHL 08 franchise mode. It won't even be a series, but let's just take a look, poke around, see what kind of fun we can have with it, because, you know, to get these rosters into a state where I would find the game fun, that is dozens and dozens and dozens of hours of work. And then you get into franchise mode and all of that work might not even pay off because the AI can look at, well, number one, I mean, shit, you can have goalies who have good ratings, and that doesn't mean a goddamn thing what goalie ratings are in the game. But the AI can look at Thomas Chabot and be like, you know what, though? You, based off of my coaching style, I'm putting you on the third pair with Travis Hamonic because that gets a +1. Whereas if you were with Eric Brandstrom on the top pair, that would only be it'd be a 0. So I'm going to put Thomas Chabot on the third pair. It's just unacceptable. It really is. But that said, I hope the people that are enjoying this game are continuing to enjoy it. For the people that have made it all the way to this point in the video with me just giving out the entire goddamn time because I'm tired of dealing with a product that should be so much better than it is. 85 defensive awareness, Tony DeAngelo. He fucking dreams. Like I said, for the people that enjoy it, don't let my opinion change your opinion. Enjoy the damn game. I don't know where I'm at right now, though, in terms of what this channel is going to be, what's going to be on this channel. In terms of franchise mode, in terms of anything roster editing related, I have no idea right now. I really don't, which is why I mentioned tactics and snipe and sin. Shit, I don't know, is 2BC back doing franchise mode stuff, or did he burn out on this too? He might have. I understand your plight, Johnny, at this stage. It's just a shame. It's really all I can say, man. It's just a shame. I wish, I really do, that I was one of the people who's actually having a lot of fun with this. And the shitty thing is, like, there are bright spots with this game. 100%. There are some bright spots with this game. It is not, in terms of a percentage, like 100% a waste. The potential is there in every regard, including giving Jake Neighbors a low top 6. Case in point. First round pick 2 years ago, but let's give him a potential that's outright trash. And we've said it's trash for years, and they still haven't fixed the damn potential system in terms of having low potentials for whatever reason. I don't understand at this point. I think I finally said everything I wanted to say. I think we made it there. I think. You know, you get to a video like this and it's just going to be like, all right, here we go. Just going to bare my soul and bitch and moan. Oh, I'm so looking forward to the bitch and moan comments. They're my favorite. They are my favorite. Critique is bitching and moaning on YouTube at least. And I have been doing it for years. And will not be stopping, as if this video isn't any indication. But what do you guys think? Like, that's why I often put out videos like this. Like, I want to hear from you guys, because you likely only watch this channel if you are a gigantic fan of franchise mode or the idea of customizing rosters. Why else would you be here at this point, you know? I want to know what you guys think. As a Canucks fan, are you just like, fuck it, Andrei Kuzmenko's in the game now, I'm cool. GG's, that's all I needed. And if so, hey, more power to you. I understand. I do. I understand. Are you on my side of things and the funny thing is, like, I've heard examples, right, of people just being like, yeah, I have no interest in playing this game at all. I have other people that, I know play franchise and are trying to have fun with it and just enjoying it for what it is. I always like to hear your opinion in regards to this game, the state that it's in, and whether or not you find it to be good enough, satisfactory, or are you just so conditioned to just being like, it's not quite what I want, but it's all I'm going to get, so might as well enjoy it. I'm always intrigued to know what you guys think. But that is a look at the NHL, my thoughts on the state of the game at the moment, especially off the back of what should have been a great moment with the first roster update of the year that I can only view as a massive disappointment. I'm not going to go through all of the other leagues, junior and stuff like that for now. Again, if you wanted to see what it was like at launch, I'm sure most of things are the same, especially, I'm sorry, for the European leagues. You probably likely only ended up with transactions. And like I said, the AHL is rather incomplete at this stage. But hey, give it a shot. Let me know what you think in terms of where this game is at right now. And for shits and giggles, let me just check something. Did they strip Blake Wheeler of the sea? They did. Okay, well, at least we have that level of attention to detail at this stage. I will see you guys at some point. When? I don't know. With what type of video? I don't know. NHL 23's life cycle. It's going to be an exciting time for this channel, because we're either going to find fun stuff to do, or maybe this channel will actually start to die.